Lakers Nation, what is going on? So today we have a wild Lakers trade scenario that would bring Anthony Davis back to Los Angeles. Yes, you heard that right. Anthony Davis could potentially return to the Lakers, and this time he would be joining Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves. Now, before anybody gets too excited, I want to make it clear this is a hypothetical trade scenario and not a report saying the Lakers are actually making this move. But the idea itself is absolutely fascinating because Davis is one of the biggest names the Lakers have moved on from in recent years. And now the possibility of seeing him back in Los Angeles is something Lakers fans are naturally going to talk about. According to Yahoo Sports and Heavy.com, this proposed deal would involve the Lakers sending out Walker Kessler, Jake LaRavia, and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards, while Jared Vanderbilt and Dalton Knecht would head to the Detroit Pistons. The Lakers would receive Anthony Davis. And honestly, this is where things get extremely interesting. Because on paper I can understand why somebody would create this trade. Anthony Davis, when healthy, is still an incredible basketball player. We are talking about a former champion, a multiple-time All-Star, and one of the best defensive big men of his generation. Put that type of player next to Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves, and the Lakers would have an extremely dangerous core. Luka gives you the elite playmaking. Reaves gives you another ball handler and scorer. And Davis gives you the interior scoring, rim protection, rebounding, and defensive versatility. That combination would be scary. But there is one massive problem. The Lakers already gave up a huge amount of future draft capital to acquire Walker Kessler. So would you really turn around and trade Kessler away for a 33-year-old Anthony Davis? That is where I start having second thoughts. Kessler is only 25 years old. He fits the timeline with Luka much better. He is younger. He can protect the rim. He can rebound. And the Lakers just committed a major amount of resources to getting him. Trading him away this quickly would basically mean admitting that the original move was the wrong decision. And I do not think the Lakers should make a move like that unless they are absolutely convinced Davis can stay healthy. Because that is the biggest question surrounding this entire scenario. It is not about whether Anthony Davis is talented enough. He absolutely is. The question is availability. When Anthony Davis is healthy, he can completely change the identity of a basketball team. But the Lakers already know how difficult it can be when their superstar big man is unavailable. You cannot build your entire championship plan around a player who you are constantly worried about being on the court. And now you would be bringing back an older version of Davis while giving up a younger center who could potentially be part of the Lakers' future for years. That is a major gamble. Now I also want to talk about the emotional side of this. Anthony Davis returning to Los Angeles would be crazy. Because Davis was part of the Lakers team that won the championship in 2020. He has history with this franchise. He has already played under the pressure that comes with being a Lakers star. And Lakers fans know exactly what he can do when he is playing at his best. But this would not be the same Lakers team. LeBron James is no longer the centerpiece. The Lakers now belong to the Luka Doncic era. And that is why a Davis reunion would be so interesting. Luka and Davis have already been connected through the blockbuster trade that sent Luka to Los Angeles. So imagine the Lakers eventually putting those two players together on the same roster. That would completely change the conversation around this team. Luka would have one of the best lob threats and interior finishers in basketball. Davis would have one of the best offensive creators in the NBA, creating opportunities for him. And unlike some traditional centers, Davis can operate away from the basket. He can score inside. He can hit mid-range shots. He can defend multiple positions. And he can protect the rim at an elite level. That is exactly the type of player you would want next to Luka. But here is where I stand. I would not make this trade. At least not right now. I think the Lakers should give Walker Kessler a real opportunity to prove what he can become alongside Luka Doncic. You just made the investment. You gave up valuable future assets. You signed him to a major contract. So why immediately reverse course? If Kessler develops into the defensive anchor the Lakers believe he can become, then you could have a younger center locked into your core while Luka continues to develop chemistry with the roster. And there is another thing Lakers fans need to remember. You cannot just make a trade because the names look good together. Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, Austin Reaves. That sounds amazing. But basketball is not played on paper. You have to consider age, contracts, draft capital, injuries, depth, and long-term flexibility. The Lakers cannot afford to keep throwing away their future assets every time a big name becomes available. They already made enormous moves to build around Luka. At some point the organization has to protect what is left. Now if Davis somehow became available for a package that did not require the Lakers to sacrifice Kessler and a huge amount of future flexibility, then I would absolutely listen. Because a healthy Anthony Davis next to Luka would be one of the most dangerous combinations in the NBA. But with this specific proposal, I think the risk is simply too high. The Wizards would also have a major decision to make. Davis could obviously help them immediately. But Washington has been building toward the future. Adding Kessler would give them a younger defensive big man who fits a rebuilding timeline. And that could actually make sense for them. The Pistons would also get young talent in Dalton Connect while taking a chance on Jared Vanderbilt. So from a three-team perspective there are arguments for every team. But for the Lakers I think the question comes down to one thing. Are you trying to win right now at any cost? Or are you trying to build a sustainable championship team around Luka Doncic? For me, it is the second option. I want the Lakers to build around Luka for the long term. And that means being extremely careful with their remaining assets. Anthony Davis is still a superstar-level talent when healthy. There is no disrespect to Anthony Davis here. If anything, this scenario shows just how much Lakers fans still appreciate what he brought to Los Angeles. But sometimes the best move is not bringing the past back. Sometimes you have to keep moving forward. And right now I would rather see what Luka Doncic and Walker Kessler can build together. Because if that combination works, the Lakers could have their next championship foundation already in place. And if things do not work out, then you can revisit the trade market later. So for me this Anthony Davis reunion is an incredible idea to debate. It is entertaining. It is nostalgic. And the basketball fit with Luka is absolutely fascinating. But actually giving up Kessler to make it happen, that is where I draw the line. Let me know what you think. Would you bring Anthony Davis back to Los Angeles? Or would you keep Walker Kessler and continue building around Luka Doncic? Because this is one of those Lakers scenarios that sounds unbelievable until you actually start looking at the details.